She said it without lifting her head, her thumb still scrolling, her tone sharp and tired. Stop acting desperate. Be stronger than this. The words landed heavier than she knew. I wasn't pleading. I was reaching for my wife, hoping she would see me, feel me, remember that I existed beside her. For a long time, I had felt like a shadow in my own home. Every attempt to be close was brushed off with irritation, excuses, or a cold kind of quiet that hurt more than arguments ever could. That night, something inside me shut down. I didn't argue or explain myself. I didn't try to prove my worth. I simply nodded and walked away, not because I agreed, but because I was worn out. That was when I understood a painful truth. When you keep asking someone to love you, you teach them how little they need to give. So I stopped asking. I didn't announce it. I just changed. I quit starting conversations. I stopped sitting close to her, stopped leaving thoughtful messages, stopped reaching out as I passed by. I poured that energy into myself instead. I went to the gym before sunrise, stayed late at work, filled my weekends with solo plans. The house grew quiet in a different way. I ate alone, turned off lights early, asked nothing, expected nothing. Exactly what she had wanted, or so it seemed. At first, she barely noticed. Silence can feel like relief when you're used to being pursued. But relief doesn't last forever. Absence has a way of echoing. A few weeks later, she began making small comments. You're never home anymore. Then concern crept in. Did I do something wrong? I answered evenly every time. No. Everything's fine. And on the surface it was. Inside, I had closed a door I didn't know how to open again. I stopped waiting for her attention. I stopped caring whether she noticed me at all. That's when everything shifted. She watched me more closely. I didn't react to her moods. I didn't chase, didn't argue, didn't try to fix things. She had been used to being wanted, to knowing she mattered without effort. Now that certainty was gone, and it unsettled her more than any fight ever had. Silence, when it replaces desire, can be deafening. One evening she asked quietly, "Why don't you touch me anymore?" I met her eyes and answered the truth. I didn't want to bother you. It hit her harder than anger ever could. She laughed nervously, pretending it didn't sting, but I saw it in her face. She expected bitterness, not indifference. That's when she started trying. Sitting closer, asking about my day, slipping her hand into mine. I didn't pull away, but I didn't move toward her either. I was there, but my heart stayed guarded. Affection that returns only after being withheld doesn't feel warm. It feels rushed, reactive. She felt the difference. For the first time, she wasn't being pursued. She was the one searching for reassurance. As days passed, the tension grew. She dressed differently at home, laughed louder than usual, found excuses to touch my arm, things she hadn't done in years. Still, I remained calm, polite, distant. That scared her. One night, she finally exploded. "Why are you acting like this?" she demanded. I didn't raise my voice. "You told me to stop begging," I said evenly. "So I did." The room fell quiet. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. That was the moment it clicked. Not dramatically, but deeply. She had mistaken my patience for weakness, my affection for desperation. And now that it was gone, she felt exposed. The roles had reversed, and she didn't know how to wear mine. She began asking questions she'd never asked before. "Are you unhappy? Do you still love me?" I answered honestly, but briefly. "I don't know." That answer frightened her more than anger ever could. She cried that night, not loudly, but with the kind of regret that comes from realization. She admitted she liked the control, liked knowing I would always be there, always waiting. She never imagined I'd stop. But love can't survive neglect forever. It fades quietly when ignored long enough. I told her I hadn't stopped caring. I stopped chasing someone who didn't value it. Hearing that forced her to face something painful. She hadn't lost interest in me. I had lost hope in her. And that hurt her more than losing attention ever could. After that, she tried harder. Apologies, promises, tears. She said she never meant to hurt me, that she didn't realize how far she'd pushed me away. I listened, but I didn't rush back. Trust doesn't rebuild on words alone. When she asked, "Is it too late?" I couldn't answer right away. Pulling back had shown me how peaceful life could be without constant rejection. I had found myself again. My confidence, my boundaries. I wasn't sure I wanted to return to the version of me who begged to be chosen. She felt the shift. The certainty she once had was gone, replaced by fear. Weeks later, she admitted something that changed everything. She said she enjoyed being desired but never thought about the cost of denying it. She believed intimacy was optional, not essential. She assumed I'd always adapt, always wait, always stay. Now she understood what absence truly feels like. Watching her wrestle with emotions I had carried alone for years didn't bring me joy, but it brought clarity. Love without effort turns into entitlement, and entitlement destroys connection. She finally saw that the man she dismissed hadn't disappeared. He had simply learned to step back emotionally, even while remaining physically present. I didn't leave, but I didn't rush to forgive either. I told her change had to be steady, not driven by fear. I told her intimacy isn't something you withhold to gain power. It's something you protect. For the first time, she listened without interrupting, without defending herself, without minimizing my feelings. Reality reached her not when I argued, but when I stopped caring enough to beg. That's when regret becomes real, when you realize the person you took for granted no longer needs you to feel whole. She thought telling me to be a man would silence me. Instead, it woke me up. Pulling back didn't weaken me. It reminded me of my worth. And when she finally understood she could lose me not to anger, but to indifference, that's when the regret truly settled in.